Hey, Metal Maniacs. This is Shawn Maynard of Supermodel Taxidermy from Canada, and you're thrashing it up on Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
All right, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, from crossover punk thrashers, Supermodel Taxidermy, here to talk about the band's brand new release, A Horror Story. Joining us, we have Shawn Maynard, guitars and vocals?
That's correct.
Very good.
I would be fronting this project. Thank you.
Yes. I appreciate you reaching out to me on Facebook, and I just want to welcome you to the Metal Meltdown and thank you for this opportunity. I checked out your new offering, A Horror Story. I have to say, it's a fun, catchy thrash offering and makes me want to learn more about Supermodel Taxidermy. So let's learn all we can.
All right, fire away. I'm here for you, Dave. Let's do this.
Okay, great. When did your band actually form?
So I'll start off with letting everybody know that this formed over COVID. This was an idea that had come to me, and with the ample time that we had over the last few years, that's where it started. The ball went from there. So there were quite a few hiccups along the way, and first of all, it came down to jamming and getting people together to do this with the restrictions we had up here in Canada, and the fear of this virus initially in the beginning. It was near impossible to have everybody in the same place at the same time. So after a few months of, I guess you could say, sporadic jam sessions and excuses on why we shouldn't be doing this, I decided to move this project forward on my own. This entire album was, it was sitting up here brainstorming in my mind for about a year before I could finally get it out. And even though now that I am jamming these songs and we're getting ready to push forward for shows, initially this was an idea I had pushed out the gate on my own.
Well, I'm glad you have the music out there. And what led you to decide the format of the band, this punk rock type of sound. I mean, I like I said, I find it very thrashy and a fun sound. I don't, punk. I've never really been into punk, but I know punk and thrash have roots together, so it works very well together. And I'm enjoying the sound, like I said. But what made you decide to do this particular sound?
I think that came from just how I grew up and what I listened to. Like a lot of the bands when I was younger were very, very much punk rock based. If you look at the Suicidal Tendencies or DRI, even one of my favorite groups, Dayglow Abortions, they're punk, but they still have a very metal push to them. And I just amalgamated what I listen to and what I love with metal because for me, Slayer right there is my absolute favorite band. I've listened to them since I was 13 years old. So for me, it was just an easy crossover, as I call it. I mean, there is a lot of it out there. It's hard to pinpoint on whether it is metal, thrash, punk, but it's all the same subgenre, and for me, it's what I love. This is what I do.
Well, I have been playing your music on the Metal Meltdown, and people in chat have been enjoying the music too. So I think you have a very good product here. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of good feedback on it, and this is turning into something more than I initially thought it would be. Now we are on the second step, and up next it will be shows, and we're gonna go from there. And I already have a few ideas on the next realm of what Supermodel Taxidermy is gonna put out, but one step at a time.
Yeah, and that's great to know you're going to have shows down the road at some point. We'll get to that. But who, I imagine you, who selected Supermodel Taxidermy as the band's name? How did that name come to be?
I was bouncing around the idea of this project, and a friend of mine, my buddy Lonnie, threw that name out there. And it kind of caught me. I thought, you know what? This world is all about idolizing things that don't really matter in my eyes. So I thought, okay, you guys want beauty, you want something to look at? Like, here, I'll taxidermy a supermodel. What do you guys think of this? And the whole drive behind this project was initially to just push the idea that it's what's on the inside. You open up the cover of this album and you got a beast in there. It's not so much this beautiful figurehead that would be portrayed by the public. I'm
oh wow,
pushing against the grain on that one.
Yeah, well, it's a very unique original name, and the way you're describing how you came to it, it makes a lot of sense to me. And so yeah, it works.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, and please inform the listeners on who makes up the rest of the band's lineup. You're a three-piece.
That I am actually going to hold on to right now. I'm currently bouncing around between a childhood friend who is now playing the drums, but until we're secured and there's going to be shows, I'm going to hold back on that one and not release any names. It's
okay.
A bit of a personal preference, but once this initial step happens, then the public's they're going to get Supermodel Taxidermy.
So this is very much your baby.
This very much is the start of it. Yes, I wrote the album. I've initially could not find a singer. But you know what? I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna start with where this came from. I was in a very rocky relationship a few years back, and it's unfortunate and it's a sad story. But I discovered there was drug abuse, and it was fed by prostitution, which I had no idea about.
Oh.
So, yes, right? It is what it is. When I discovered this, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to, and I couldn't really figure my way out of it. So I decided to write. And what you're hearing in this album is actually my journey through a horror story. And
I get it.
The end product was a result of what we have, but I couldn't find a singer. Nobody wanted to push somebody else's idea. It was a tough sell.
Wow.
So I was set back a few months. I had to learn how to sing and play the guitar. And then came the next battle of COVID and jamming. The drummers were very sparse at the time, so I laid it all out. I got the formats I needed, and I reached out to a high school friend who lived in another city. He then listened to the music, got an understanding of where it was going, and once he was ready, we went to the studio, and well, the rest is history.
Wow, this is making a very interesting story, and everything is coming together. What you just told me, and then the name of the album, I could understand and kind of relate to what you're talking about. It's a sad story put onto music, and I appreciate your letting us know about this.
I was on the fence about even letting the public know what this was about, but in the end, I'm not being true to myself, because I wrote this for me. This was my outlet of healing, of getting through a rough period of my life. And I thought, if I don't stay true to that and let my fans know what this is about, there's no point to it. So having said that, welcome to my horror story.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I'm enjoying it, but I'm sorry you've gone through what you've gone through. But that makes the best music. Your personal life stories put into music, you could come out with great creations, and I think you've done that here. And did you self-record this? Did you have your own studio? Did you do everything, produce it, mix it, master it, do everything yourself? Or did you actually work in a regular studio?
I reached out to a studio that I've been following for the last few years. They were putting out some very good music, and I actually brought this project to the physics lab in Edmonton, Alberta, here in Canada. And from there, Rob Lawless is the one who recorded my music, and Terry Palick, he mixed and mastered this entire album. Those guys are amazing. I had such a fun time doing it with them.
All right, that's great. And this is self-released, or have you been able to talk to labels and find interest in, signing up with a label? How's that experience been for you?
It's been a journey. The whole time, this has been one big journey. I may have done this in a backwards fashion, but once the album was ready, I thought, I'm not going to sit on this anymore and wait for the guys to catch up to speed and play the shows and have a release party. So you know what, this is something the world needs to hear, and I just kicked it out the gate. From there, I have talked to a few record labels, more so on record deals, but right now I've chose to just let it sit in my back pocket. I haven't taken a step forward with any of it.
I see. Well, that's understandable, especially during the current times with COVID. It's great that you got the music out there, and we'll see what the future holds for you. What I am interested to learn about is also the art of your band, Supermodel, Taxidermy. I'm loving the CD art. I mean, if you really look at it, it's like you got to be careful on Facebook. I mean, I have colleagues and friends that post album covers, and there might be a little touch of nudity, and Facebook will block you, or they will, as I should say, they will put you in Facebook jail for a week or so for doing such a thing. And if you look at your album cover, it looks like a lady is being strangled, and Facebook might be like, oh, this is not good. But I'm not saying it's not good. I actually find it an entertaining cover. And I'd like to know more about that, who designed it, and of course your band's logo. If you could tell us about that, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll start with the design. That was an idea I came up with, and I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. I wanted to use models. I wanted to use people and color shade the album, and the more I got into it, it just seemed to be too much coordinating to make that happen. So I had looked online and found a comic book artist here in Alberta, and he was doing a Kickstarter campaign for a project of his own. So I reached out to Chris Twin. He's on Instagram, C Twin Comics. And I messaged him, and he told me that he'd be interested in doing the cover. So kind of explained what I wanted, and he nailed it. I didn't have any requests for changes. Chris really hit it home for me.
Did a good job.
The cover itself, though, is that mascot on there. My little girl named him Jimothy, so that's the name I'm going to stick with. And he's sort of orchestrating what's happening here. That he's sewing together that model for display, hence the Supermodel taxidermy. But that image you're seeing is more of, I guess you could describe it as a pre-thought. This guy was trying to fix something. He was trying to make something beautiful, even though it really wasn't.
That is the supermodel taxidermy right there. That's the image right there.
You got it.
Yeah, well, did a good job on that. And did he do your logo, selecting that certain kind of font that works well with the cover?
I found the font myself. I come up with that, but he definitely put that image all together. That was him. I sent him what was the font style, and he ran with it. I really think he hit it home.
Yeah, it definitely catches the eye, so it's a win-win for you. I think you got a great cover there to promote your album and to catch people's eyes to say, what is this? And then once they listen to it, I think they're really going to enjoy it. At least I noticed that people are.
Thank you. Yeah, the idea there was to have something intense. I didn't want to drag it out too much. I wanted fury. I wanted something fast. I needed it to be to the point, and I chose those amount of songs for this particular album just because of the realm on what this project was for me. From the first song right to the last song, it's, as I said, it's a journey. It's a story of what one person would live through in discovering the horrors of a bad relationship, in this particular instance, addiction and prostitution. So to the very last song, which I named Homage, was actually a ballad written for my girlfriend. And after about a year into our fresh relationship, she had told me in passing that she promised herself she was going to see it through with me, because she realized that this guy needed help. Whether it was going to work out or not, she was going to see it through. So I actually took that line and I decided to write a song for her. So right from the beginning of the album to the end, it's one long horror story.
Did it work out with you and this girlfriend, or have you moved on?
No, we're still together. We're doing great. We're alive and well. Our kids we're a big Brady bunch here.
All right, very good.
Yeah,
I noticed on your Facebook, I saw kids, and I says, wow, he's got kids. And I wasn't sure if you were the uncle or if they were actually your kids. So that's great that things are working out.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
So far, I noticed, or you've let us know that so far your mission is accomplished as far as what you've wanted to do with Supermodel Taxidermy. The only thing left for you is to deal with COVID as far as doing shows. And the thing is, you're saying that you want to actually do shows, that you will be a live performing band, but I guess COVID gives you more time to get the band that you want to be out there to perform on stage. And do you think this is going to happen in the warmer months, maybe late spring, early summer, or are you still contemplating on what will actually happen for live performances?
The future's never really certain, but my goal is projecting this summer we'll be playing shows.
Well, I hope that happens for you. I hope if it does, please send a message to me and we'll spread the word.
I will do. Thank you very much. What I was gonna mention was the fact that I have had a lineup that was willing to play shows and on board with starting me off and getting this out there. But in the end, I did not choose that path. I want this to successfully succeed. So having said that, the current lineup I'm using right now, we are lifelong friends, and from that itself, I know this will work. Now it's a matter of being 40-year-old men and lining up our personal lives to find more time to rehearse this, and then that's it. The rest is going to be history.
Well, I wish you luck with that. And I also noticed on YouTube your official lyric video for the song Deism off of the Supermodel Taxidermy's album Horror Story. What could you tell us about this lyric video? And do you have any future plans for any more official music or lyric videos for a horror story, or are you settled with what you have now?
Yeah, there are plans to do music videos. Again, once we're ready for shows, I do already have a videographer lined up, and I've talked about ideas, and we're going to move forward with that. But as right now, the next project for this album is with Chris Twin. I'm in talks with him right now, the same guy who did our album art, on doing a video in a cinematic style of his cartoon. So it's kind of an idea we have on a fun-loving little punk rock journey of cartoonists that are ready to thrash up a 3-minute music video.
All right, well, that sounds like fun. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
that's great news.
That song Deism you asked about, that was an outlook on a few things in life that I thought needed attention. A couple things that really bothered me to the core. And looking within that video, in the first 30 seconds, you're clearly going to see what I'm talking about. But by the end of it, I'm trying to have people think, are we doing this right? Is this the way humanity is supposed to be portrayed? Are we taking care of each other the way we should be? Are we the ones that are setting the future up for our children? And that song was written to more or less highlight some horrors in society, but also to have one think about what we could be doing better.
Well, I got to tell you, my personal experience and what I see out there, we are going down the tubes here. Things are so bad. I mean, every day you watch the news, cops are getting shot, cops are getting killed, people are stealing, they're shoplifting. It's like people don't seem to care about anybody else but themselves. It's really fucked up, but that's what I see. But I'm listening to what you're saying. I wish things were better out there in the world, but I think since COVID, things have gotten a lot worse. But that's my personal feeling. It's nothing political. It's just what I see on the news every day. It's really fucked up.
I gotta agree with you. I think a lot of our issue is that we are not socializing the way we should be. In turn, it's manifesting a lot of mental health problems and stigmas that are coming of it. This world needs to get back to normal, and we need to just let go of what was, accept what we are, and move forward.
I agree with you. And one thing I want to do right now is inform the listeners out there, and hopefully the fan base for Supermodel Taxidermy will forever grow. And one thing we need to let them know about is how they could get merch to support the band. So I want to give a couple of links, maybe 3 links. Of course, you can find your music on Spotify, but I also know you have a Bandcamp, supermodeltaxidermy.bandcamp.com/releases. And also you have your Facebook, facebook.com/supermodel taxidermy. I guess the Bandcamp would be the best place for them to get the digital release. What would you say would be the best place for a fan, an upcoming fan of Supermodel Taxidermy? Where would be the best link for them to get merch? And what other merch do you have available for your fans?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Supermodel Taxidermy on Bandcamp is a good avenue to take. And right now, we've got a run of T-shirts. They've been actually moving rather fast. It's shocking. And there's also a batch of CDs I'm about to upload for today as well. But moving forward, there's nothing on the plate right now. I will be completely honest. My main focus has been pushing this band out the gate into the stage area.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And we are here to spread the word on Supermodel Taxidermy And we want people out there that do like your band to tell you that they want to see you perform live. And hopefully that will lead to you actually doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's going to happen. This is manifesting as we speak.
This is good news. And I hope that this will help get you to that where you want to be. That's what this is all about. And would you like to talk about your guitar? You said that you had to learn to play guitar and sing and get this on the ball and get this music out there. So what do you actually play? Do you like to talk about gear?
Oh, I can talk about gear all day long, yeah. I wrote 3/4 of this album with a Jackson, like most metalheads play, I'm sure.
Yes.
I have a RR24 with a single humbucker in it. This thing's got some Seymour Duncan blackouts, and I absolutely love it. It is a thrash machine. I mean, I do have a plethora of guitars sitting around here, but for this particular album, that was my weapon of choice.
Excellent.
On the record itself, in the studio, I did record with 5 different guitars.
Really?
But
wow.
that was mainly just to play with sounds and really figure out what worked best on each track. And in the end, it definitely was worth it. But yeah, as it comes to writing, this solo Jackson is my instrument of choice by far.
That's great. And have you been working on more material for the follow-up to A Horror Story? Have been writing more music, or have you been just like concentrating on like your regular job, whatever your day job is, and also organizing a live performance in the future? What have you been doing?
Oh, this is a passion of mine. I'm forever writing. If I'm sitting in a restaurant with the girlfriend, I have something rolling through my head. But I currently have 3 more songs that they're not quite 100%, but moving forward, it's a start to this new album. The concept of it, however, is holding me back because I took a very different approach, I feel, with A Horror Story, and this album was one giant realm. It all ties together, and moving forward into the next project, I do want the album to have a similar theme. So once it's actually laid out and on paper, I'm going to tie it together a bit more. But yes, I have been writing.
Very interesting. Great news. And what do you do for your regular job? How do you survive out there in this world?
I'm an electrician. I have a day-to-day job just like everybody else. This is it's not a kind world in that regards. We all got to do something to support our fun, but this is exactly what I needed to help me get through. It's been a stable platform for my family and my musical career.
Do you get enough? Are you part of like a union? Do you have enough work available for you? Do they let you work a certain amount of hours? Or I remember back in the day, the owner of Metal Messiah Radio, he was an electrician and also a graphics designer, but he was like underworked. They maybe gave him 10 hours a week, and there's no way you could survive on that. So what's your experience been like as being an electrician?
I grew up in a work town. I'm still living in one. Up here in northern Canada, we deal with oil, whether anybody wants to hear that or not. And it's a juggernaut that does not stop. They're digging this dirt 24 hours a day, so they need the manpower to get the product moving, and it doesn't slow down here. This city was built around work.
That's great.
It's
good
like
for you.
I said, it has really been good for the family.
That's good. And Shawn, at this time, would you like to say anything to the loyal and the new Supermodel Taxidermy fans out there? Anything that you would like to say to them?
I think I got a statement more for everybody who enjoys music. I think we should all be on board with, keep listening to the underground stations, sharing the music with your friends, whatever bands you find, pass it along. This is where it all starts. I mean, we're all in it for the same reason, and that's to keep the music alive.
I agree with that 1,000,000%. And Shawn, I want to thank you for spending time with us on Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio. I do believe we learned a lot about you and the whole philosophy of the band, and we wish you a lot of success. Before we go, I want to make sure that we caught everyone up to speed. So that being said, if there's anything else that you'd like to mention to the people listening out there, please feel free to do so.
I think you pretty much hit her home. I appreciate everyone's support, just like every other band out there, and I hope to see you guys soon. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Supermodel Taxidermy is on its way.
Great news. And I appreciate the interview. Thank you so much. I think it's been great to talk to you about your music, and I look forward to the next time that we could do this. I want to wish Supermodel Taxidermy and you, Shawn, your family, everyone connected to you, a great 2022. Be safe out there, and I hope that you have success for all the years to come, and keep in touch with me as far as videos and any kind of live performance you may have, and I wish you the best of success.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. And I will keep in touch, and I will definitely stay listening.
All right. Thank you very much for the interview. Sounds like a plan. I look forward to the future. How about we go crank up some more Supermodel Taxidermy with music off of A Horror Story. Not a horror story, a horror story. And then I posted the picture of the CD art in the chat room, so they totally understood what I was saying. Because if you say it fast enough, it sounds like it could be a horror story, right?
Then again, that was well thought out on my behalf as being a double-edged sword of my journey through a horror story, which was a horror story. Yeah, right on, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't want to say anything in the beginning to give any of these little details away. I kind of wanted to hear what you had to say about my shock factor on the story, but
I thought it was great. I thought this is your first interview. I thought you had a great story. This is your first interview.
This is my very first interview. Yes.
Wow, I like everything. I think has really nice flow. So you did a great job, and I would never want to put you on the spot. I mean, you gave information I had no idea what this was all about. But after you said everything fell into place and made sense to me. Kudos to you. Oh yeah.
It's amazing, because that was what I was really trying to hit home. I'm glad it portrayed itself the way it was meant to.
I'm pretty sure that people that will be listening to the interview and listening to the music, and if they pay attention, they will understand this as well. And hopefully they will get back to you and say, hey, I heard your music and your interview on Metal Messiah Radio, and now I'm a fan. That's what the whole goal is. That's what these are all about. Because I agree with you 1,000,000% about the underground. We're here to work together to support the underground, to get the music from the underground up for people to be exposed to hear this music, because it deserves to be exposed.
I'm on board with that 1,000,000%. Like, you look at these radio stations that are pumping out the same, 34 songs a day, liquid metal and whatnot. They got there because of people like us. They got there because somebody put it forward. Somebody passed this to their friend. Another person put their name out, and it's is where the scene is at. This is what music is about. I think the internet had put this on a platform that never existed until it came around. But when you look at the root of what music is, this is how it's done.